Welcome back, everybody. I've reached the bottom of Palace of the Dead, which I'm not going to talk about because it's very annoying to get to the bottom of the Palace of the Dead. Well, I will talk about it, I guess, but very briefly. But first, cutscene. Our friend Nibeth has become a lich.
Impressive to come all this way. I half suspect you are led by the same dark that shadows my path. Did you know
If
that I
by
have
Dark Shadow
discovered the
Past you mean
purpose
me
for which
collecting
this
all of the
temple was
achievements, then yes.
constructed? It was built for people like you. Ah, but I see you are not concerned with such matters. If you insist on playing the hero come to vanquish me, I shall be happy to act my part. Denizens of the Abyss, from ink of blackest night I summon you. Darkness to me!
I get tired of hearing that because every time they summon dark undead creatures, they always use that line. Well, it's the intent. What is it? Incantation. I like how slow this is. I don't know if this is a choice of the game.
This conflict was foreordained, you know. All is laid out upon the wheel of fate, free from the meddling hands of mortals.
So says you. Yet here I am of my own free will. So I will talk a little bit about getting down here. It's a pain in the ass because what happens is you start out at the top of the tower, okay, and all the guys, they cap you level 40, okay? So that's first thing. And the guys you start out fighting early in the palace are under your level, so they'll be like 30 something, 38, 34, somewhere in there. As you move slowly down the thing, they not only do they level up, so they go from 38-ish to 40-ish to 45-ish, but occasionally they'll throw in enemies that are like level 50. Just some of them are required, some of them are not. Like you would run into a character like a dragon or a cockatrice that might be level 50. You can ignore that because as long as you don't attack that creature, they won't attack you. They'll just be sort of neutral. When you attack them, then they become hostile, and then you don't have to kill them to complete the mission, but you do have to contend with them now trying to attack you. And then occasionally, it's usually on levels that end in 1, they may throw in a super boss at you. By that I mean you're in a you're at the bottom of a cavern, so all of the enemies are on higher ground than you, and they're all somewhere in the ballpark of level 55 to 60, and those missions are they're optional because if you back out, retreat, and come back in, you're probably not going to run into the same group of people. But occasionally you'll get like the super boss that if you manage to defeat, you'll get some supreme rewards, but it's kind of difficult to do because you're capped at 40. However, in those missions they let you cap at 50, which I haven't unlocked yet because I'm not in post game yet. So that would be the only way that I think you could defeat them, is to be at level 50 and have a legitimate chance of taking on a level 60 versus being at 40 and trying to take on a 60, which is near impossible because they do too much damage. And it's if you're at this point in the game where you're pre-coda ending, just just come back here on either a different playthrough or come back here after you've unlocked the songstress. Just because it's the only problem with that is by doing that you can't. I don't think you can fight Nibeth. I think at that point the game considers Nibeth dead. I don't know. Hard for me to say. Anywho, I'm doing this at the end of one of my runs. I haven't gotten the ending, and I'm not in the Cody quite yet. But we are down here because I wanted to do this as sort of a final, probably last episode I'm going to record of this. I could do the songstress stuff as well if I wanted. It's just that's all post-game stuff, and then they give you an option of coming down here again, except you have to go all the way down to. You have to come all the way down to level 98. You don't have to beat all the missions, but you have to come down to this level roughly, and then you go one basement level below, and you have to do an additional 15 missions, 16 missions, and then you get once you beat the boss, you bring Warren back, and Warren joins your team at that point. And then once you get Warren, you unlock the last character, which is Lancelot. You just do a quick story mission, and you get Lancelot in your team as well. So that's like all for your new game plus alternate runs. So you could just sort of, I wouldn't say cheese the game, but you would have both Warren and Lancelot on your team to basically blow up the other two runs in the game. You know, provided you did one of either the Chaos run or the Law run, because if you do the neutral run, you can't unlock the songstress. If you don't unlock the songstress, you can't get Warren. If you can't get Warren, you can't get Lancelot, because you have to have both Canopus alive, and you have to have what's his name? Shit. I forget his name now. He's one of the other two white knights. He'll come to me in a second. There he is, Gildas. I didn't do that on purpose, I swear. Gildas is, you have to have Gildas, who in the neutral playthrough is a zombie. So you can't recruit him because he's a zombie. And I don't think you have, I mean, you have the ability? No, you don't have the ability to run into Danub / Pumpkin and buy one of those things that will turn him back into human. And I don't even know if that would work, to be honest. Like, say you're playing it in New Game Plus, but at that point you would have Gildas, so that would sort of be pointless. Anyways, this mission's difficult / not difficult. It's difficult because Nibeth is very strong, and he has the ability to do that one AoE that'll pretty much devastate your team as is. It'll do about 600 damage or so. You'll notice that the far back here I've got a Lich. I actually went into the Pirate's Graveyard and recruited a male and female Lich. So I do now have the actual item I need to turn a character into a Lich. I just didn't need to do it because I already had one. So this is that attack I was just talking about. 1,000 damage. Yeah, that was pretty ridiculous. However, because he targeted my Lich and my other, what's her face? Ah, shit. The other Sage character. And the Lich earlier cast Reflect on them. Reflected the attack back at Nibeth twice. So that's why he went from being full life to being near dead now. Because I reflected his fucking attack back at him. Which was partly my intent. You'll notice that Donalto also has reflect on him. Or he did at least. So, he is... That's why I brought him in. I didn't bring him in for any other purpose because he's a lich, and liches can learn dark magic, and you can probably use either Deneb or Cisedra to be your preferred dark magic user. The liches are very strong, I'm not gonna lie. But the fact that he gets this reflect ability allows him to reflect spells backwards. That's why I brought him into this fight. Biggest pain in the asses are the same as always. These two golems, pain in the butt, and the dragons are slightly less painful because I brought in water magic slash stuff to try and take them out. You notice I'm wielding some pretty decent weaponry here. When I was going down this particular run of the Palace of the Dead, I ran into what is this? What is that? What's that sword's called? It's Durandal. And Durandal is a two-handed weapon that is light magic, so I switched Denim over to light magic, so he would get the bonus from building the same type of magic. There's other things that are equipped into my guys that you can't well, unless I go into the menu and show you. I've got some decent armor on now. A lot of my characters are rocking some variation of flying, like Canopus can fly. Yeah. Denim, my White Knights, and a few other characters have the ability to fly. So one of the real great things about that is you get backed up here with all of these guys protecting the front line, and all I have to do is poke a hole somewhere in that line and I can fly over top of them. Now they are limited by the number of spaces they can move. So say my Lich, for instance, he probably can move 3 spaces. So if there were, 2 lines of enemies in front of him, he could fly over that. But he can't fly like indefinitely across the board. So, Gildus has a flying ring on him right now. But I gotta get the people 3 spaces in front of him, or roughly 3 moves for him, empty in order so I can fly over that line and get into his back ranks, which is where I want to be. And then because this, of course, is a dark magic user, of course he has the ability to just I'm not sure if he infinitely summons characters, but he summons reinforcements as you kill them. So you eventually have to get to the back to take out Nibeth one way or the other, either by throwing spells at him or flying your characters over his protection line. A couple other things about the Palace of the Dead. There's 100 levels. You don't have to, well, this is what, level 100 or level 99? I think there are 99 levels. And then you unlock level 100 through 115 in the post game. You don't have to do all 99 levels. You can if you want. You don't have to do them. I think the minimum number of levels that you have to do is somewhere around like 70 or something. So it's still a fair number of levels. And I want you to just sort of imagine if each level takes me roughly 20 minutes to complete, how many hours of my life did it take to get down here? So when I talk about this being the last episode, that's because unless I find once you beat the House of the Dead, they sometimes, I don't know if they unlock all of the guidebooks or there's an item that allows you to skip over sections of the Palace of the Undead. So if, say, that unlocks and I get the little guidebooks that allow me to skip levels 1 through 75 or 74, yeah, then I'm gonna go get Warren, because at that point I just have to do the last 20 or so levels. It's really not 20 levels, it's probably, well, there's 15 plus, say, another 10 levels, so yeah, about 25 levels that I'd have to do in order to get Warren. So, you know, what is that? Let's say 3 episodes. So that would be, that'd be another 8 hours of playing time for me, roughly speaking, to get through to get Warren. And since I already beat the other endings, I don't really need Warren or Lancelot. They would just sort of be for completion purposes. But if we're talking about completing this game 100%, there's more stuff to the game, like levels that unlock under certain conditions, I think, in the different playthroughs. And then once you do all the levels, then there's unlockables like getting one of every item, which is a different kind of annoyance. That's like trying to in my book, that's like trying to unlock base at the end of Mega Man Battle Network 1, where they require you to collect every chip, including the ones you have to get out of the chip trader, as well as one of every character's chip. So the most annoying ones are, well, annoying would be Sharkman, time consuming would be Shadow Man, because Shadow Man requires you to not only beat him with an S ranking, which means you have to do it under a certain amount of time, but you can't take any hits, and then there's a % chance that he won't drop his chip, but instead give you something else, like Zenny. So not only do you have to wait for him to pop up, which is a random occurrence, but you also have to do it perfectly and in a time limit, and hopefully the RNG gods are kind and give you his level 3 chip. Now I think there's a possibility you can get his level 3 chip also with an A ranking, but I think it's a very low % chance, like 5 or something. It's much... Anyways, so I won't be doing that. Let's see here. Gildas is coming up next turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is he in range now? He might be in range of killing Nibeth, which means that's going to be the end of this episode, and that's going to be the end of this playthrough. So let's just see in a sec. Yep, that'll be it for him. Alright, I'm going to say my goodbyes now because we got a cutscene coming up.
Yes. So this is the dark. I am becoming one with you now. It is ecstasy. Yes, the dark has chosen me. The bodies of the unwitting will be my vessels. I am immortal.
Alright, next time you see me, we're going to be playing something different. So I hope you tune in for that. Whatever it is I decide. So until then, I hope you all have a good one.